Okay, about to do a minor service on the engine. I'm going to be changing the oil, changing the filter on the um, lift pump, and I have this specially made tool out of a 1 liter bottle designed to help minimize the mess. I'll show you how that works when I get on the boat. And what else? Well, that's about it. I did actually check the diesel filters and those look excellent, so I won't be changing those. I didn't do that on film, but it is what it is. So I will be changing the oil and checking the filter on the pump. I may not have to change it because this is just a screen. So if it's in good shape, I won't replace it, but I will bring it up just in case it needs to be replaced. So now I'll go on the boat, get my tools, and get going. Okay, here we are. We're inside the boat. I'm going to access the engine, so I'm going to take the covers off. Get them out of the way. And what we have here is a circa 2001 Yanmar 3GM30F made in Europe. And it has a few modifications on it. Most notably, you can see the blue pulleys. That is a tin rib kit by Balmar. It's their alt mount kit, or alt belt kit. I forget what it's called. But it's really nice. It puts all the energy from the engine to the alternator without slipping. The old V-belts were slipping and dusting pretty bad. So, and also, most notably, you'll see that this engine has a drain plug on the bottom, which most engines in a boat do not, because the previous owner did actually put a bung in there, so that will make life a lot easier. So we'll get going doing the service in a moment. So I wanted to show you the engine. Okay, I'm just gonna show you the setup here. So here are my tools. I have my 7/8 inch wrench, 14mm socket for the drain plug, and the filter wrench for the oil filter. And I do have a 6mm trash bag that I'm going to put under the engine to catch all the oil. And this shop here does have a disposal tank for me to dispose of the oil. And I did loosen the cap on the oil crankcase just to ensure air gets in there to make the draining of the oil a little quicker. So I'm going to have at it now. I'm going to put this in the mount and you can watch me work. So hopefully you can see me. There we go. Trash bag. Actually, the first thing I need to do is put on my gloves because it will get messy. No, I'm not a doctor, but I play one on TV. Yeah, these gloves are pretty good. They're from Costco. They're pretty thin. They give you a lot of tactile feel, but they're not overly durable. But then again, they are exam gloves. They're not work gloves. So basically, I just take this 6mm trash bag, heavy duty trash bag, and open it up and just shove it under there. Okay, so the bag is set. I'm going to take the drain plug out. Okay, here we go. Okay, it broke free, so now I'm going to use my hands to unscrew the plug. Okay, got the plug out. It's draining now. Should have got this blue rag out first. And there's the drain plug. The copper crush washer on it. Should still be good. It's only been, what, 20 years old. So if it lasted that long, it'll keep lasting. I haven't seen a drip yet, so. This isn't actually a 14mm bolt, but the 14mm does fit on it perfectly, so I'm fine with that. So just clean this off a little bit. And put it aside. Let that drain. And as that's draining into the bag, I'm going to make sure the bag is underneath the oil filter as well, so it can drain out of there into the bag. There we go. I don't know how good you can see, but I'm going to take my filter wrench, grab onto the filter and turn it, and hopefully not lose too much oil. And I will be using my little tool in a second. Well, I got the filter out. The camera cut off for some reason. So just wiping down the little bit of spillage I got from this. Wiping down, making sure there's no gasket on the engine block. And here's what, when I take the filter out of the engine, what it looks like. I put that lip up against the engine block, unscrew it, and let the oil drip into the filter catcher thing here, which is just a 1-liter bottle that I cut open. So that's that. And I will put that in, I will drain whatever oil's in there into the bag and then dispose of it. So that's that. I'm going to go check the oil to see if it's still draining. Under there, drain plug. Tighten up the drain plug. So that's done. So we're looking good. Oh, gloves weren't too bad. Didn't hear anything yet. So now the game is to pull the bag out without spilling the contents. So that's always the fun part. So try to grab the top. And once I get the top, try to torque it up without hitting anything sharp. A good zip tie will do that to you. How successful was I? Okay, looks like I got 2.6 quarts of oil without dropping any. So I have a 5-gallon bucket up here I'm going to drop it into. Okay, it's shut off. Now we're back on again. So here we are. We got the filter. We got our catcher thing again. And we have the 7/8 inch wrench. This is ancient. This is either my grandfather's or my wife's father's. So it's pretty ancient, but does the job. 7/8 inch. That's all I need. So which I think is this side. So basically all we do here is just turn this a quarter turn and then a little bit of diesel will come out, and the filter and the gasket. You got to watch the orientation because it has to go back the right way because the filter is oriented, and it will go in both ways. So let's at least get started anyways. Okay, that's started. That's loose. It's under here. And then finish taking it off. Again, no spillage. I'll take this away and put a blue rag under it because it may continue to keep dripping. And I need to get the filter out now. There's the filter. So that's that. Not the blue rag. Clean my hands. Still virtually no spillage. So that's the filter. Looks excellent. Nothing on it. I see nothing in the magnet. I think we're saying that I got a little spillage there. Put this over here. Let's inspect the magnet. Inside here, inside the bottom, is a magnet. And I see nothing on there. So after an entire season, and that's the diesel that's in there. And again, looks clear and nothing on it. So I am thrilled that that looks that good. So, and the filter screen looks perfect. No tears, no nothing. One little piece of dirt. So this is a 400 micron. The next filter, the Raycor filter is a 30 micron, and then the engine mounted one from Yanmar is a 10 micron. So you want to have progressively finer. So the original filter that came with this, or a screen that came with this, was a 72, which is a little too fine because it's finer than the next filter down. So I wanted just something just to catch anything that's big. So now we need to put the filter back in its home. Put the cap on. And tighten her down again. And since this is a electric filter pump thing, this will prime itself, obviously, because it's a pump. So any kind of air in there will eventually get to the filter and eventually to the engine. So there is a chance that the engine may stumble a little bit when it's running. But since, again, you have a lift pump in there, it'll keep forcing more diesel into the engine. So once I get it outside and run it on the hard with water running through the engine, I'll run it for 10, 15, 20 minutes just to make sure that the entire system is bled and there's nothing in there. So now that's that. I just got to put everything back and put the engine oil in and put the engine oil filter on. So that's the next steps. So let's do that. So here's the Yanmar filter, brand new from the factory. I only use Yanmar equipment on this, including the oil. See, it says right on here that it takes 1 turn, which is very unusual. And don't bother trying to get a filter from an auto parts store. Take the time and actually get the factory Yanmar filter because it's much heavier cased and the threads are metric, they're not standard. So if you get something else, it may not fit. It may physically fit on there, but it won't. Chances are it won't be metric. And what are you saving? This thing I want to say was maybe $6. So just get the original filter. Take the time. Your engine's worth it. So I want to get some oil and put it on the O-ring. I am squeezing some oil onto my finger from a cord. I don't know if you can see that. You can't. So I just want to lubricate that. Put the cap back on that. Now put the filter back on. Once it makes contact, just about there, I am going to put it on as hard as I can with my hand, but I generally always do need to use my wrench to get at the last bit tight. Plus I have oil and stuff on my hands, so I won't get a good grip on it anyways. So I have it oriented so I know what I'm looking for, so I can turn it. It's maybe about half tight. Halfway around, I can't get it anymore. I don't mind using the wrench on the filter because this filter is so heavy bodied. You're never going to damage it. And getting it to one full revolution is a pain. So that's one full revolution, and we're good with that. So time to actually put the oil in the engine. No, real exciting stuff now. Let's see here. That should be good for you. Put a blue rag in the gap there because I always drip oil down there. This takes 2.6 quarts, so I'll put a little bit more than 2 quarts in here. And when I run it, I will keep checking it. And I will spill this no matter how much I try. Not too bad. Normally I don't have a camera in my way. Or my phone actually. And again, I do use Yanmar oil. I think it's like $9 or $10 a quart now. But again, cheap insurance. I know I don't need to use it, but there's something to be said in my mind that I'm only using Yanmar products on this engine. Then again, I do have Balmar parts on this engine and a modified oil pan, so it's not perfectly factory. But this is 1540 diesel engine oil, so let's see how we're doing. Close enough for government work. And quart number 2. Dun, dun, dun. If anyone's still awake at this point, I'd like to know. Because I know this is riveting. Don't want to pour too fast. Get the 3rd quart ready. Oh, the drips. Okay, how's that coming? Still dripping. Close enough. Quart number 3, so I'm going to put a little bit more than half of this in just by eyeballing it. It may take a little bit more with the filter. I'm not exactly sure. Okay, how much did I put in? I guess I put in just about a half a quart. I'll put a little bit more in. Let's see, what do we got there? A little bit more in for insurance. Don't want to overfill it because that can be just as bad as underfilling it. But I always knew that it took almost 3 quarts actually, even though it says 2.6. The oil pan may be a little bit bigger, I don't know. I don't know if you put a thicker gasket in or something. But it always seems to take a little bit more than 2.6 quarts. So that's that. Let me wipe that down. I didn't make too much of a mess this time. Clean up the cap. Put that on the engine. Okay, that's tight enough. So that's it for the oil change. Now let's just do a reality check on the rest of the engine. So let's check the radiator cap. There should be antifreeze in there. And there is. This was changed like a year or so ago, so it's good and new. And the cap is relatively new as well, because I don't like having old radiator caps on, so that was maybe put on like 4 or 5 years ago. The overflow tank is about halfway up, and bilge is nice and dry. I don't see anything in the pre-filter, the Raycor filter, so that's good. So, and the belt tension is still pretty good. That's a nice scientific gauge there. And I'm not going to bother checking the level of the oil because I know I put a good amount in. I don't see anything in the bilge, so nothing came out. So I think we're good there. And I'm going to cut this video off now because I think it's running way too long for an oil change. This will be heavily edited. Talk to you later. If you like and subscribe.